The bed's a mess because the cat's on it. The number of times I'm like, oh, I'll do a YouTube video, and then the cat is on the bed is actually pretty high. We're gonna get the TheraBand down off the Keytar. We're gonna get to this in a second. I have like 15 minutes to record this. So here we have, what you might not know about me is that in addition to owning a lot of Keytars, I also own 35 sewing machines. So sometimes I see a sewing machine, I'm like, oh, I don't have that one, and that's really cool. I need that one. Like this one. This is the Singer Isaac. This is a sewing machine that all of the stitch patterns are controlled via a Game Boy Color. This is one of the most expensive machines in my collection, because in addition to getting this part at Goodwill, I also had to buy a Game Boy, which was also relatively inexpensive. Then I had to spend $100 on this Game Boy cart. So that's my expensive sewing machine. But now I own a Game Boy, and since in days past, I owned a great number of Game Boy games. Specifically Oracle. I owned Oracle of Seasons. As I grew up, I was like, I don't need my Game Boy games anymore, and I gave them to my brother, and he sold them, and, you know, that's all done with. I will not lose this cartridge. This is the most expensive Game Boy game I've ever bought. It's not even a game. I already opened this because I forgot what it was. So this is a Game Boy link cable. This is an empty Game Boy cartridge. This is a sticker for Cat Skull Electronics. And this is the Teensy Boy Pro. The Teensy Boy Pro allows you to plug your MIDI controller into your Game Boy to use its sound engine. Do I remember how it works? No, not at all. But it's very cool. So that goes there. Get in there, turd butt. Does it not go in all the way? Am I putting it in backwards? There we go. So we're just gonna do this, and then I'll mess with it, and I'll come back after work and film the rest of this video. Right, I've forgotten a lot about how Game Boys work. Nope. Oh, I forgot to turn on my light. I usually have a light on over there to evenly balance this display. But as it is, I am too interested in getting this to work. Okay, which one's in and which one's out? Please tell me that somewhere. Okay, I think these little arrows indicate that that one's in. So that's waveforms. I forgot how bad the screens are on these. It's called the Teensy Boy Pro. The reason I got this is because my cat is named Teensy Buttons. This is Teensy Buttons. But this is Teensy Buttons. This is Teensy Buttons. This is why I got it, because her name is Teensy Buttons. Yeah, because you're weird. You can't pet her. You can look at her, but you cannot pet her. Putting this on record to show that at one point the lipstick was not smudged. I haven't worn lipstick in like 7 years. But I am going to eat dinner while I figure out how to use this tiny circuit boardy thing. So, it's gonna be smudged. I'm gonna try to touch it up. But if I have a revelation and my lipstick is all over here, it's because I made the terrible mistake of deciding to wear lipstick. Everything looks different when there's no natural light coming from the window behind me. But through a couple of YouTube tutorials, I have figured out how the Teensy Boy Pro works. So the thing is that I'm generally a girl who can get by. Why is my camera tilting so bad? Why don't I buy a better tripod? Why do I do this to myself? So I'm normally a girl who can get by with like really minimal instructions, like just 10 words in a row written in Chinese and run through Babelfish. What I wasn't really expecting was no instructions at all. I feel like I need to make a box for this. I'm afraid of breaking this. And I don't want to break it because it's the coolest thing. So here we have Here we have the Teensy Boy Pro. It has MIDI in and out. It's got a spot for the Game Boy connector cable, and then it has a battery power. And then there are 2 buttons on it, and I know what one of them does. So you take the Teensy Boy, you power it off USB, you plug your MIDI controller into it, and then you take the Game Boy Link cable, and you plug the Game Boy Link cable into where the Game Boy Link cable goes, and then I have a 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch out in the headphone jack, and in the back of the Game Boy you put the blank cartridge. And that is the Teensy Boy Pro setup. I think this thing cost me $60 total. Definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. And here is the only fitting Keytar to play this with. Not actually the ideal Keytar, and I'll go into why in a minute, but the only fitting Keytar to play this with would be the Rock Band 3 video game controller to play the 1998 video game console. So you plug this in, and you press this one button until it has MCB illuminated. You will notice, as I play this, that we've got a little tiny space rave going on my laptop. There are many flashy lights on this. And what you're going to notice, especially everybody who's wearing headphones, the second I turn on the amp, is that there is a high-pitched whining noise. And we're just going to have to deal with that, because this is awesome. So here we go. There it is. I don't like that. So over on the Game Boy, we're just gonna do all the sound out of the... Now, the Rock Band 3 keyboard controller, only plays on MIDI channel 1, and generally this doesn't matter too much with modern MIDI equipment, but we're not really using modern MIDI equipment here. We are in fact running it through a 1998 video game console. Also, for those of you who were like, yeah, the Game Boy Color was great, there's no backlit screen. You have to, like, angle it right into the sun. And since what I play on this Game Boy is just the Teensy Boy and the software for my sewing machine, it's fine, but I would not want to play Mario on this anymore. Powerful video game processing software. Since the Rock Band Keytar plays on MIDI channel 1 and that's about it, we are locked out from a little bit of the function of this. Because this has 4 channels. If you play on MIDI channel 1, it plays channel 1, which is that. You can control the octave, it's a pulse wave, but you can control the shape of the pulse wave, and I'll get into that in a bit. There's an envelope, so you can control the envelope, which for those of you who didn't do your required reading, that is in this case, the envelope refers to how fast the attack is and how slow the decay is. They indicate that with funky little shapes, which is nice because that's very intuitive. You don't really have to think about it too much. There is sweep, pitch bend range, because you got pitch bend on this. You can turn on sustain. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That depends on your envelope. So we are going to get back into the Teensy Boy, which means we're going to turn this back on. To control something, it took me several minutes to figure this part out. You hold A to indicate that you want to select a thingy, and then you move your D-pad left and right to change your envelope. There's an envelope. There's an envelope. There's an envelope. So we're gonna set it for fast attack and slow decay. Right about there, that sounds fine. The thing about the pulse width that works really well with the Rock Band Keytar is that the pulse width, or the pulse, yeah, width, is set to the modulation strip. So I can do this. We're gonna actually change that envelope I just set to something else. So by just using my mod strip on my Rock Band Keytar keyboard controller, I can get access to all of the shapes, and because the mod strip is set to lock instead of to slap back, technical terms there, I can just leave it wherever I feel like and change the width of that. There is also pitch bend, which is still upside down because yes, that's the most annoying thing ever. I found the best way to play it if you're not gonna be accessing. So channel 1 and 2 are basically the same thing. Channel 3, if you play it on that, you can get different wave shapes because it is a... I'm just gonna put the word right here because I can't remember what it actually is, so this is the word. I'm gonna look that up later. And then channel 4 is noise. And it would be really cool to have access to all those when I do some live looping on it, which I'm not gonna get out of this because it's on MIDI channel 1. But it's the funniness of playing a video game with a video game controller. So I have to do it because emotionally it feels right. But I do need to figure out how to filter out that whining noise because it drives me nuts. Because when I don't know what to play, I default to Love Divine All Loves Excelling. This is what happens when you take your kids to church every week for their entire childhood.